okay? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is cabin fever reliever. This class is called chair yoga. All right. This is Angela Ogle. You take it over, girl.
Hi. Okay, so I'm Angela. We're going to do about 45 or 50 minutes of movement today and then leave a little time at the end for some questions. So we're going to start out, I think the most, and sometimes you'll see me, I might move to my side so that I feel like I can show you something. You don't have to move. You can stay right where you are in your chair, but you might see me move just for the purpose of demonstration. Um, and if I say right and you do something on your left, just make sure you even it out at the end. We're not, this isn't just do what feels good in your body. I kind of mentioned that before, but I think the most important thing is doing what feels right to you. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Or if something I've done does feel really good, return to that. We're going to start out with some movement from our chair. You can stay in your chair for the whole practice, but at one point we will get up behind the chair and do some movement, some strength and balance things. And if you want, you can stand or you can stay in your chair. I'll give options for both. So we'll do some things in the chair that then we'll almost repeat differently outside of the chair. But we're kind of going to start today by grounding in and finding our breath first. And so just try to sit in the chair. I like to lift up one sit bone and then the other and get yourself just so you really feel in a comfortable seat. And then feel your feet ground in. You're finding your roots. You're finding your breath. Maybe roll the shoulders up and back and away and sit up as tall as you can in the chair. So it's like an active seat. You're pushing the feet into the floor and just notice how you really start to activate those muscles. If it feels comfortable, you can close down your eyes or soften your gaze and just tune in first to your breath. Some people like to put a hand on the belly and a hand on the chest or the hand on the heart while they feel their breath so they can really connect. And just take your normal breaths at first and then maybe start to lengthen those breaths. We call that like 1-to-1 breath. So maybe find a 3 count or a 4 count of your own, matching your inhale to your exhale, being a very intentional breather, being mindful of the breath that comes in. And eventually we'll start to even think about bringing breath into spaces where we need a little bit of healing or into spaces where we need some love. We can also take this moment to increase the breath. And also, as we increase our breath, I like to think of our intention. So maybe your intention is just, I am allowing myself to accept more of myself, to accept more grace, to receive. I am allowing myself to receive more energy from this practice. I am allowing myself more love, more self care. Whatever you're needing more of, I am allowing. Or maybe you want to set your intention for someone or something. So turn on that breath. You could have palms face up in your lap or again on the chest or the belly. Beautiful. And we'll start to kind of warm up the body for the first 5 to 10 minutes just from the head down. So we're going to bring right arm up just to the top of the head, not forcing anything, but bringing the right ear to the right shoulder. Now you can leave the hand in the lap, or if you want more of a stretch, you could reach those fingertips down towards the floor, or you could even grab onto the chair and feel a little more stretch. Nice. And then you could even tilt the chin down and notice the difference in the stretch there when you look down at the ground. You could bring the arm down so that it's softer and maybe just nod the head yes or no, just feeling that nice stretch. Another nice option is maybe you bring the hand to the other side and just give yourself a little massage or find a trigger point as you move where it feels like a little pressure just to relax through the neck and shoulders. We'll come to center. If you don't have any vertigo issues, if you can, look up, stretching the front of the throat, look to center, and then look down, stretching the back. And then we're going to bring that opposite hand over, opposite ear to shoulder here. Nice. And then go ahead and tuck the chin. And find whatever shape, maybe it's the same shape you took on the other side, or maybe it's different. Another option would even be bringing the right arm to the right shoulder, making some circles. We'll do that again a little bit later too, so maybe you just want to stay more in stillness. So you decide. Looking down, maybe nodding the head. This is a slow movement. Nice. And then coming back through our center again. We'll work a little bit with breath to movement. So let's just bring first the hands to the shoulders. And as you inhale, fill up and bring the shoulders like back and the elbows back as if you're trying to reach behind you. Nice. And then as you fill up and then as you exhale, bring elbows to touch and maybe even tucking around a little, tucking the chin. Inhale, open, filling up the heart. Nice. Increasing your capacity to receive more air, more love, more of what you need. And then exhale, bring those elbows together. So it's a little seated cat cow. You can do it real simply, or you can notice that maybe you push, as you push the belly forward and shine the heart forward, you take a little arch in the back and then you could tuck and round. So this is a little spinal movement as well, or it can be slower and just more upper body. What feels good to you today? Take that movement. And then we'll come back to our centers and we'll just take some rolls out of the shoulders, just rolling out the tension. Usually we just roll back because typically when we sit in our desk all day or we drive or we're on those cell phones, we are hunching over. So this is to open up again. This is a real heart opener practice, a lot of this. So we'll get into that. Nice. And then go ahead and take a moment and just kind of shake everything out. We're going to work with some breath to movement of the upper body and then work our way down. So inhale, arms come up. Nice. And then as you exhale, just bring the arms down and around. Just gentle movements, inhale up. And this next one, maybe you take a little twist. Bring the left hand to the right knee, right hand to the chair. Maybe you twist around and look behind you. Sit up tall on the inhale. Exhale, you could twist deeper or just stay in a gentle twist. Your choice. Inhale and then exhale, other side. And again, you're going to wherever your comfort level is. And then we'll do just a little more movement. So this time we'll inhale and exhale with that twist like we're wringing out the cares of the day. Our twists are really good for detoxing body and mind. And there's probably been some things that come up in the day that maybe you just kind of want to release. So just releasing those toxins, releasing those cares with each breath. So you inhale as you come up. Exhale as you come down. You can either do an open mouth exhale if that feels like you need to release, or you can exhale through the nose using the Ujjayi breath, the yogi breath. Nice. And then come back hands to heart center. Beautiful. We're going to work our way down into the hips and then get into the lower legs a little too. So just open up the feet just a little. And again, usually I like to try to maybe the heels are in line with the chair. And if you've got a chair that's moving, that might be harder. So just find what works for you there. If you can open up the hips a little bit, that's great. And then we're going to take those hips and open them up here and just take a deep inhale. Bring the arms out to the side. And so we're going to work into that side body and kind of working our way down. So just reaching with the right hand and then the left. And right and left, getting into the obliques, the side body a bit. You can look over each hand as you move that direction. You could flip the palm if you want to kind of get a little arm workout and work a little on hand and eye and muscle coordination. So flip the left palm when you come to the left, the right palm when you come to the right. Just working the upper arms, getting into that breath. Inhale as you reach out. Come forward, or you could exhale as you reach out and inhale as you come up, your choice. Just making sure there's a breath to movement. Nice. And then we'll come back to our center. Bring the hands to the tops of the knees is usually easier here. And we're going to get into just a little bit of hip rolls. So take a deep inhale and just kind of fold over. Keep a little gentle bend in the elbows so you're not forcing anything. And then take a little roll in. And this should be a bit of somatic movement. So find what feels good to you here. It might be a really deep long kind of groovy roll, or you might want to go a little bit softer, a little bit slower. Just feel into that. Nice. And then when we come to center, take a moment to take that deep inhale. And before you exhale, to come to the other side. Doing our switch overs kind of mindfully if we can as we switch into the other side. Nice. Beautiful. We're going to get our ankles ready for some work and our calves, and then we'll come into a little more dynamic movement here. Come to the center, just kind of heel toe those feet back to where they're about hip width distance apart. And we're just going to start first by either you can bring the foot out front if it's possible and accessible to you, or you can lift it all the way up if that works for you. Oops, just got a message, so I want to make sure I'm not missing it. There we go. All right. And then we're gonna, we'll just go ahead and lift up the right foot. Either it doesn't have to be as high as mine, it can also be down low or just on the ground, but we're gonna make some circles in those ankles. Nice. One direction and then the other. Beautiful. Flexing the toes and pointing, or you could even, if you had an intention or a dedication for your practice, you could try to write the name of your intention or a word, or you could just write the alphabet. Sometimes is a little bit of a challenge just to get into those ankles. We don't do this enough, so it's something nice to do. And again, if you don't have a lot of space, you could also do the ankle rolls with the knee bent. So options here. Nice. And coming down and then finding that on the other side. Is it knee bent or leg straight? Finding your ankle rolls. And if you were writing the alphabet or a word or a name, you might find it's more challenging if you're not left-handed to try that on this side. So again, it's a bit of coordination, a bit of some of these movements are great because they get you out of that monkey mind that's always thinking. So in order to do the movements, you kind of have to a lot of where the peace and the zen come, because we spend so much time in our heads. So we're going to move into the body more and more throughout the practice. Great. And then we're just going to come, I'm going to show something that we're going to do later standing, but that if you're staying in your chair, you could do. So just come up first on the tiptoes, just even noticing just how the calves activate then, and then come down flat foot and then lift the toes. And then just kind of a back and forth rocking with the toes. Maybe this is just what you want to do at the same time, or maybe it feels better to you to rock them up and down. But just getting into the calves. This is something we'll do standing, but again, if you choose to stay seated, you can do that way. Perfect. I'm going to bring arms and legs and some things. And we're going to do that a little bit to get the heart rate up. There we go. I'm going to watch my bugs are everywhere here. Yay. Not the bugs today. So they may be a little, again, trying to find the zen through all the distractions of life. So I'm going to come sideways so it's a little easier to see maybe what I'm doing to start, but you can bring hands to shoulders to start. And maybe you make a fist with those hands. And then lift up, you can either do right or left leg. I'm going to start with the left because it's easier for you to see. Lift up the left leg, and you could also at the same time then bring the arms out. So that's going to help you find your balance. And then as you bring that leg back down, you curl. So it's like a little bicep curl, and maybe it's easier to see from the front too. I'm not sure, but here we go. And it's real slow. So what we're doing is we're actually really activating all the muscles in the legs. We're engaging our core to be here. We're sitting up as tall as we can. And we're working the biceps as well. So it's a slow and steady movement and starting to bring that heart rate up. If the leg can't come up as high as mine, that's okay. Wherever you're at, or if it's hard to straighten, you could do this with a bent knee. So you could just lift the leg here, whichever works for you. Nice. We're going to come to the other side. So take a deep breath in and then start to lift. Nice. And lower and lift. Beautiful. Nice. Wonderful. Find as many of those as you can, your pace, your breath, just continuing to breathe in and breathe out throughout as you do those. Beautiful. Really finding your breath throughout the whole thing. Nice. Beautiful. We'll find one last one, and then we'll come down to our center. And then we're going to open up just one leg. So we're going to open that right leg up a little to the side. Left leg will stay straight. And we're just going to find a little bit of a hip opener again here. Deep inhale, and just we're going to find a little bit of stirring the pot. So we're going to bring our hands together if that works, or if you had a ball or a block, or you could even do this if you wanted to get with weights or holding on to something, like a squeeze ball or a stretch ball. And then we're going to stir the other way. A lot of times when I do this, we could do cookie batter or brownie batter or soup. Soup might sound good for those of you that are all in Minnesota. Nice. And then come back to center. Going to open up to that hip. What we're going to do is just heel toe that foot to the side and then go to the other side. So we're kind of in this almost like a little ballerina stance too. And then we can do the same thing with the stirring of the cauldron. Maybe this time you want to put one fist on top of the other and find just a little different movement instead of clasping the hands, whichever way you want. When you switch directions, you could switch one other hand on top. We're just getting into those hips a little. Nice. And coming back through our center. We're gonna do our little bit of a frog or goddess from our chair. And we can do that, we'll do this standing too. So there's a couple different ways to do this, but I usually start with like right arm out and then right foot, and then come back in left and right. So depending on how much space you have and where you're at. Some people like to do this more like open up both legs and then bring the arms down, or open up both legs and bring the hands together. So there's options. What do you have space for? We call this our little frog jump. It's like a seated jumping jack to get the heart rate up, to get those hips open, but a lot safer on the knees. I'm not a fan of the jumping jacks anymore. I did them in the water the other day, though. That was easier. I was splashing everybody around me. So we'll do two more frog jumps and then come back to our center. And then we're going to we've kind of got those glutes formed up. And we've got ourselves a little bit ready to do some standing things. So we're going to stand, but again, most everything can be done still seated in the chair. So I'll cue for both options. So just kind of let me know, if there's any questions, you can raise a hand or ask in the chat, or you can I'll give options with the chair. So we usually I start with both hands on the chair, just to get my balance. And then maybe you start to challenge yourself with only one hand or no hands on the chair, however you want. We start out by just really finding our roots again, as we did when we first sat in the chair. So from the feet down, from the ground down, feel your toes. Maybe your toes are pointed in a little. Feel the ground beneath you. Really feel your connection, your feet, your connection to the earth. If you're in your chair, ground into your feet and feel the kneecaps pull up so you feel the legs. Stand as tall or sit as tall as you have, like all day, really intentional. Roll the shoulders back, palms ahead, looking straight ahead. This is our mountain pose in yoga. And if this is hard to do standing, you could always hold onto the chair with one hand or even both. Once you find that mountain, just take another couple of breaths to reset your intention. Why are you here? Just to find some movement, to find some community, to find that energy together. Beautiful. And then we're going to go ahead and start to just play a little bit with balance. So there's two options here. You could either just rock on one toe and then the other, kind of like we did in the chair, right and left. So you could do that in the chair too. Right toe, left toe, like a little pony. Or if you wanted to challenge it a bit, you could lift up the heels completely, standing on the toes, taking a moment. You could hold on with both hands or let one hand go and then come back down. And I want us to just do the toes to start if you're at that spot. So you're just lifting up the toe, lifting up the heel, stepping on the toes. You're feeling into the back of the calves. This is a really good one to do soon after eating, because those bigger calf muscles helps digest some of the sugars in our body. So it's a really good way to move through and work these muscles right after eating to digest all the sugars in a different way. It's also really good for us before we walk around all day to activate these muscles so that our backs, our knees, our hips don't do the work. The bigger muscle groups do. So we're going to come down to standing, and then we're going to lift the toes. So we're going to basically be on our ankles. And this one for me, I need to hold on more, but maybe you can let go with one hand. Maybe you could bring one hand to the hip, but we're lifting the toes, and you're feeling that you're activating a different muscle in the leg here. It's also really good for paying attention to balance and strength. So we're finding that. Nice. Beautiful. We're going to come back down and we're going to take a few twists. If you feel the need to step a little closer to your chair for some more support, you can, or you don't have to. We can use the chair or not. Arms come up on the inhale. As you exhale, if you want to, you could bring one hand down like the left hand to help support you as you twist back with the right. So you're finding this nice twist. And then you come back to center and twist the other direction. And again, that chair can support you, or you can do the twist without the chair, depending on where you're at today, what feels good to your body. But these twists are so good. Inhaling as we come up, twisting it all out, and the exhale. Beautiful. Last one, wherever you're at. Now we'll try it with a bit of a goddess arm. So we're going to take those cactus arms that we kind of do in our goddess. Take an inhale, and then as we exhale, just twist behind with the arm here, and then the other direction. So almost like a little windmill or a little sprinkler in the goddess arms. Nice. We'll return to that a little bit differently. We're going to come back to center, and if you're comfortable with both arms up, we'll just flap those arms down and really slow. We could do this seated in the chair as well, as if you're trudging through mud or water, working the triceps, working the arms, working the backs of the shoulders, releasing through. And if this is something that doesn't feel comfortable without the chair, you can always bring them up and down, holding onto the chair with the opposite arm. So there's options. Whatever makes you feel the most stable and strong in your body is what's going to work. Nice. And we'll come back down to our center. Take a deep inhale, long exhale here, and we're going to find some fancy footwork for the feet. So, and the hips and the legs. So we'll start with the hand on the right hip, and then we're going to tap left toes to the front, and then center, and then front, and then center. And sometimes we didn't really talk about this before, but if anybody has a playlist, if they have, if they want to ever do this with music, you can always do that. Sometimes that helps you keep beat with the time and the tapping. Nice. And then we're going to come back to center, and we're going to tap out to the side. And the real challenge in this is trying to stand up straight, or if you're seated, sit straight while you tap that toe out. So that you're really finding this core work as well, and the strength of standing up tall. Nice. And then we'll come to the back. Nice. And then because a lot of the work that we do here is about mobility and also trying to find like that bit of, I'm clumsy, so this helps us find that coordination. So let's go front, center, side, center, and back. And if that feels weird, the more you do it, the more your body will start to remember. And so this is really good for the muscles and the hand-eye coordination. So coming center each time, front, side, and back. Your pace, you could go slower than I am. You could go the same speed, your choice. And then our last two, and what we'll do after that is we're going to find these cool little half moons or half circles that we make with the toes. Now we're a little limber, and it can be a kick up, or you could even lift the leg if you're feeling strong in that leg today. This is going to also work through that core. Nice. And coming back to our center, shake it out a little to even things out, come back to your pony, and then we'll do the other side. So left hand on the hip, right toes come front, usually do about 8 depending on your pace. I'll kind of count for you and tell you when to go to the side. Nice. and then out to the side. And again, that can be a kick or a tap, keeping strong in that spine, straight as we can. Really engaging our core, being mindful of the work that the whole body is doing for us. Nice. And then we'll come the tap back behind. 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And then we'll come to our front, center, side, center, and back. Front, center. Nice. And I do this one almost all the time in my classes because a lot of my students said at first it was hard and then it became something that now they remember. So I like to choose things that make us feel successful. So at first, if it seems like it's challenging, that's okay. You'll get the hang of it. Or it may seem not challenging at all, but you'll probably feel it on that inner thigh. And then we'll come to our center and we'll find those circles. Nice. Beautiful. This is a great way to activate those glutes too, those muscles that should be carrying us around so we don't get into the back. One more and we'll come to center. Nice. Shake it all out. We're going to do just a little bit of work for that core right now. So if we do this slow and controlled, it'll really work the core. So lifting up the left leg first, maybe trying to touch the hand, and then the right, and slow. Kind of like a march in place, but also like a one-legged mountain because you're staying on the one leg for a bit. If you're in your chair, you could also do the same thing, just lifting the knees as high as you can while engaging the core, while really keeping active there. You're going to feel that it's going to be some core work. Going to work get that cardio up again. Nice. We're going to do a few more of these. And then on our last one, I'm going to challenge you to lift that, to put all the weight into the left side, really mindfully lift the right leg, and maybe put the hand on the left hip. So you're just one-legged mountain for a few breaths. Find something in front of you that you can look at that's not moving. That's where you find your focus, your drishti. That helps you keep your balance. Staying here for as long as works for you. You might even feel like, oh, I want to play with making circles in the knees or circling out those ankles again. Or you might want to stay still. Your choice. And then we'll bring that right foot down, shake it out, and we'll come to the other side. So right hand on the hip, put all your weight on the right side, lift that left leg. And if you want, you can hold onto the chair, or maybe you're feeling like you don't need the chair and you lift up an arm, or maybe you bring a hand to the knee. Maybe you circle knee or ankle. Lots of options. Always looking at that spot ahead of you for your drishti, your gaze to find. Nice. And then coming back to our center and rocking it out. I'm going to do a few kind of traditional, more a small little sequencing thing for a little warrior 1, possibly a little warrior 3 if you want to play with balance. Everything is optional. So we're going to start with the right foot in front though, and a little bend in that right leg, and then step back the left leg just a little behind you. Left leg stays straight, right knee has a little slight bend in it. We're going to play a little bit with pyramid pose. You can also straighten that front leg if you want, or have a gentle softness in it, depending on what feels good for you for pyramid. I like to keep the left hand on the hip. Right hand can be on the chair, deep inhale, or if you want to bring the right hand up, you can do that too. But on the chair seems more stable. As we exhale, lean in towards the chair with your chest. You're keeping the spine straight. You can straighten that front leg for pyramid. It probably works a little better, but I don't want you to be tightening that knee too much. I want the knee soft so you don't feel any stress. This movement is really, the stretch is kind of not in the back, it's in the hamstrings, you might feel it in the hips. So if you feel it in the back, you can come up. You don't have to come as low towards your chair. So deep inhale, exhale, maybe you sink deeper if that feels good in the hip flexors, if you feel it in the glutes, if you feel it in the hips and the booty and the hamstrings. it comes into the back, just bring yourself up. Nice. So this is our pyramid. As we inhale, we can come up slowly. Then let's put a bend in that right knee, keeping the left foot at about a 45-degree angle here. Back leg, push into that back heel. This is the legs for our warrior one stance. Hips are facing the chair. So we've got these like square hips towards the front of the chair. You can bring one arm up for warrior one or both arms. Shoulders away from the ears. You can look up or look straight ahead. Beautiful. Deep inhale here. As you exhale, really engage the core and lean in. You could have a hand on the chair, inclined warrior. You could bring one arm back and one arm out front to feel that strength in your core if you want some movement, or you can stay in stillness here or in just that warrior one. Lots of options. Beautiful. If you feel like you want to fly a little, you could bring the hands to the chair if you're in a stable place. You could have that right knee bent. You could lean into the chair a little and lift up a leg. Just play with that, lifting up that back leg. We could get into like more of a warrior three, but keeping a soft bend in that front knee. You don't have to hinge up there, but if you just want to play with balance, if you want to play with that kicking up of that back leg. If that doesn't feel good, just stay right where you were in that warrior one here or inclined warrior. Lots of options. Bringing the hand to back down to the chair. Let's take that right leg straight and bring the left leg to meet. Take a little shake it out and take a little side bend here. So deep inhale, right arm comes up. Maybe you stretch over, and depending on what feels good to you, you can either look up if you don't have any neck issues, you could look down. Just find a nice side body stretch here. And then come back through center and side body stretch the other side. Beautiful. Before we work the other side of the body. Nice. So keeping that left foot in front, stepping back the right with that 45-degree angle. Softness in the front knee. Deep inhale, you can have one hand on the hip, one hand on the chair. As you exhale, bring that chest towards the chair. And your first one can just be here. You don't have to come down that deep. Take another inhale. Let the breath bring you closer to the chair. Each inhale fills up the lungs. Exhale brings you closer. If you're feeling this in the hips and the hamstrings, you could even bring the breath into those spaces where you feel this. Just long, deep inhales. Beautiful exhales. Take your time here. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and lift up, bringing that bend in that front knee. Back heel takes your weight, really push into the back heel. So that leg is straight, bringing the arms up or one arm up for warrior one. Deep inhale here. Really engage that core as you exhale if you feel like coming to that inclined warrior to work the core a little. You could bring the arm back and forth just for some playfulness, or you could stay here. Nice. If you feel like you want to play at all with a little more stretch, you could even just come down towards the chair. Keeping that bend in the right knee, you might feel a little bit of a different stretch, or you could lift up that left leg. A soft bend in that front knee, lifting up the left leg, finding like a warrior three version. It's hard to, I'm kind of far away from the, maybe it's hard to see the shape, but make sure it just feels good to you and you feel supported. You can bring that leg up to any length. You could push with the back heel as if you're pushing on an imaginary wall if you really want to find that stretch. We're going to come back down gently, and what we're going to do is find a stretch for that back of the legs that doesn't even require like you kicking back a leg. So step back a little ways away from your chair so that you feel really still strong with the chair. Stepping back, that's hard to say about where I am, but just wherever you feel safe, keep a bend in the elbows. You'll find a deep inhale, and as you exhale, just come a little closer to the chair with your chest. Pushing the booty back, you should feel a really nice stretch in the hips and the hamstrings. Again, not in the low back, but those hips and hamstrings should release a little here. So use the breath. You don't have to come down as deep as I am. You could be far higher up if it is feeling it in the back. Nice. We're going to offer another variation of that. So as you inhale, bring yourself up, but stay at the same length away from the chair. Bring right foot over left. Take that inhale, and then as you exhale, come down and notice if you feel just a little bit different, pushing the booty back. You might get into a juicier spot here. Again, these twists are really nice for us. If you feel like you're really stable and you want, you could even hold onto the chair with one hand, bring one arm up and find a twist. There's lots of options. I want you to just be safe in those options. You don't have to push your body anywhere it doesn't want to go, but have fun with it. And then bring yourself up, and then let's cross over the other foot. So cross over left and over right, or whichever way you were at. That deep inhale, and let yourself sink in a little. Bend in the elbows. Nice. Push the booty back a bit so that glutes are coming back. You're feeling that in the hip flexors. And again, if you felt like taking a twist, you sure could. You could open up. If the chair feels stable, if you feel stable, you could take a twist, or you could keep both hands down and gaze down. Find what your body needs. Beautiful. Deep inhale, and let's come on up. And then let's walk ourselves a little closer to the chair. Feet are about hip width distance apart. I love chair pose because it gets those glutes fired up. We talk a lot about firing up the glutes or activating the glutes, and this is a good one to do it. So you can either hold onto the chair if you need to. You could take hands at heart center, or arms can come out in front. Gaze out front. Deep inhale. You could start with just a bend in the knees and sit the booty back a little. Your chair can be a high top to start. It doesn't have to be a big, deep one, especially if you've got issues in the knees or you're not feeling strong here. If you feel like you can sink a little deeper, go for it. Again, you can hold onto the chair as well. I want you to feel the weight of your body in your heels. So the weight being in the heels, you could even lift the toes a little to feel this weight in the heels. The glutes activate, from the legs might fire up here. No pressure in the back. Beautiful, no pain in the back. Bring hands to heart center. You could take a couple pulses if it feels okay there. Nice. Just to really fire up those glutes. Nice. Beautiful, you can come on up. Let's heel toe the feet out, kind of like we did when we were in the chair. Heels are about at wherever your chair is at, toes are out to the side. So we're finding that beautiful goddess squat again, or goddess stance. Here we go. So we're in that stance. If it feels safe, you could bring both arms up, or you can have one arm up in the goddess. Take a couple deep breaths here. You could take a little squat if you want. So you're bending in the knees, you're opening up the thighs, you're holding on with one hand if you want, but they really want you to engage that core, and these legs are doing the work. And you don't have to come down too low, or you could even just still be standing if that doesn't feel good in the body. Wherever you're at, really strong. Channeling that beautiful feminine energy we need. All the energies right now. So channeling all that beautiful goddess energy that gives us a call to action, that challenges us, that holds us, that loves us, that nurtures us, and makes us work. So there you go. Come on back up. You could find here with the goddess, there's a couple other options as well. We could do kind of what we did with this morning, where you step out. So you were not this morning, but when you were in the chair. So you could step out like this and then back in, just kind of a simple out to the right, out to the left, arms come in and out. Like, I can't describe things and do them at the same time. I told you I'm not always that coordinated. You could take a little bend though as you want, like a squat, if that feels okay in your body. You could hold onto the chair and not do this, or just do the work with the arms. The arms could just be the only thing that moves here, so you could just come back and forth. So there's options, or you could just be here. But I really like the heart opening move that this is, the heart and the hips. So it can either be with the squat, with movement, or just moving in the arms. You find what feels good to you. I want to give options for everyone's bodies and what they're feeling tonight. Nice. We'll come right back to our center. Beautiful. We're going to play a little bit with balance. So might be easier. I'll do it this way. Yeah. However that works, we'll go here. So if you wanted to be here or here, if you have like tree pose in your practice, you could do that, or you could just start with that one-legged mountain we did before. You could just lift up right leg, all your weight's in the left, And just kind of maybe hold onto the chair with one, find a little bit of circles. Beautiful. Find some circles in the ankle. And then if it feels okay, you could bring that foot to the calf or up to the above the knee and onto the thigh. But the calf is enough. Or your toes could even just be down here on the ground where your ankle is on your calf. You could slide it up if it feels okay. So options. Find that drishti, that focal point, something that you can look at to keep your concentration. Maybe one arm comes up, maybe gaze lifts up. And we hold for a couple of breaths in our tree pose. Finding the breath, finding the calm. If your tree sways a little in the wind, that's okay. All trees sway in the wind. If your branches sway, it's okay. Or maybe you feel more like a cactus today and those arms cactus instead, and that's all right too. Beautiful. Take a couple more breaths and then come back to that one-legged mountain just for a moment and then come on down. Other side can be either holding on or maybe you want to try without holding on and just come up onto the toes to lift, to get those hips open. Maybe you just bring one arm up or one hand to the hip. Maybe you just have the ankle on the calf and you're your own strong tree trunk. If you want to slide that foot up a little and find the tree, go for it. The more you push your foot into the calf or your ankle into the calf, you're going to open up that foot more. You could look down or look straight ahead. Find a balance with the drishti and your breath. Nice. Tried to teach this here in Costa Rica with monkeys out the window the other day. It didn't work very well because you're supposed to look at something that's not moving and the monkeys are everywhere. So if you fall over, just pretend there's a whole bunch of monkeys running around and they're distracting you. That's fine. Like the monkeys in our head. Perfect. We're gonna get ready to come down to the chair and do some more cool down stuff, but I do want us to try a couple more things just standing. Um, just a little bit more twisty stuff and a little bit more balanced stuff. So if it feels okay, just take right foot over left. And maybe a variation of an eagle pose. So you could just be right here. Arms can come out front. You could give yourself just a hug here so you're in this nice little twist. If it feels okay to let go of the chair, you can be doing this in your chair if you're seated. You could bring hands to the back of each other or touch palms if you wanted to do eagle arms. You could lift the fingertips up. This is a variation of eagle. If you feel like playing with eagle more and you're like, oh, I really want to challenge myself, I feel really strong and grounded, you could lift that foot up a little bit onto the calf and be standing on one leg. This is our eagle pose. It's just a great place to concentrate, find your breath again. And we'll do this a little bit more seated just to find and open up through our shoulders as well. So one more time on the other side, you cross that other foot over the ankle. And again, you could use the chair to hold you. You could just give yourself a hug, other arm over whichever arm you didn't do before. You could reach for back of hands or touch palms. You could lift up so that you're looking at your elbow creases. You could stay on both feet, or maybe you lift a toe so that your toes are either on your ankle or wrapped all the way around your calf. Beautiful. And if you fall over, that's okay. Just play around. It's fun. Enjoy the moment. Beautiful. And then find our way out of that. Shake it out a little, and then we'll find our way back to our seats to just kind of find some cooling down stuff and some a little moment of mindful breath work too. So we're going to start with those hips open again here, just a little open hip to start. And just ground in, the hips as open as you feel good with. Toes out. Just notice your breath. Notice how you feel now. Maybe the palms are up to receive some energy from around you. Shoulders down. Just noticing, how do you feel? What was your intention? Do you feel any different at the beginning of practice than you do right now with just some movement and some breath, some intentional work on yourself? Beautiful. Find that little bit of side to side and then try just a couple of hip rolls. Notice if you have a little more mobility or if you're just even less trepidatious about moving through those hips now if you've got a little bit more ability, mobility, willingness to kind of be playful, to find that movement that is within. Closing down the eyes if you want. You could even come up onto the tiptoes, rock and roll the feet out, whatever feels good to you. Nice. Beautiful. And then we're going to come back through center. Let's bring the feet back to the center. We're going to find some work for the wrists and the hands. I had the start of some arthritis in my fingers, and now that I've been doing some hand exercises with yoga, it's helped me a lot. So I'm just gonna do a few of those today too, because they just feel good. So bring your palms out front, like facing each other, hands out front, and just make fists. And start really slow as you make those fists, really slow, and then increase just really fast. So you're working the fingers, you're working the wrists. Right? And then let's have the hands facing the sky. And now we make the wrists really slow and then fast again. And then for a little bit more wrist work after this, what we're going to do is actually try to touch the fingers to the wrist, like kind of feel like you're pulling the hands back up. You're trying to touch the fingers to the wrist. They won't touch, but you'll feel a little bit more movement in the wrist this way. Nice. And then we'll bring the hands out front. We're going to imagine we're just like turning a jar or moving the hands, just working through those wrists. Nice. You could take a moment to just pull the wrist back. You could just take any hand movements you want. You could pretend like you're putting lotion on, give yourself a little hand massage, and then let's make some figure eight with those hands. So figure eights with the wrist. They can be really small to start, and then they can get really big. And as we make those bigger, let's then do that big, big one, and then let's give yourself a hug. Whichever arm comes over first is fine. You could stay here in this hug and just lift up the elbows, working through the shoulders. Or you could do the opposite like we did before with those eagle arms, where you touch backs of hands or even your palm. And then in the eagle arms here, you could go ahead and lift up to really feel that through the shoulders. Looking at the crease of your elbows, you could cross the ankle over if you feel like trying to do this in the chair, or you can just keep the feet grounded. The work is more in the shoulders at this point. Great. And then we open up, but as we open up, give yourself kind of a hug and run your hands down the arms, give yourself a little massage, and then open up. And then let's find that other side. Big hug. Nice. Feel the love surrounding you, the love from this group. It's all together. The love and the energy from those. And send that love back out as well. Maybe you lift up the elbows, maybe you reach for the back of the hands and find that eagle arms if it feels okay to you. Beautiful. And then we'll shake that all out. We're gonna find a little bit of a figure four for the hips before we kind of do a little bit more neck work. So figure four for the hips would be like, if you can, you're gonna put that foot, that ankle, kind of stacking ankle over ankle if you're all right with that. If that feels okay and you have the space for it. You're gonna probably feel that in the hip right here if you sit up tall. You could even put your thumbs in the hip creases and give yourself a little massage while you're here. You could take a deep inhale and lean in a little to get more into that hip. We don't want to force anything too deep though. If that doesn't feel good or it's too much or the leg didn't want to go there, you can even just cross the ankle over the other ankle and just try to open up that knee a bit. You're still going to get into that hip space. And you could just give yourself a little bit of love right here in the hip creases. There's just that little bit of love. I know some people say we don't store emotions in the body, and some do, and there's lots of talk about it. But I know for me, sometimes those hips get tight, and I do think sometimes it's stress. So it's also the way the body is as we get the stress we put on the body emotionally and physically. So let's give ourselves a little love there and not overdo anything. And then let's go ahead and put that other foot on top, see if that works, or cross the ankle over. You could hold on to the foot to give yourself some stability, or you could put that, oh, darn it, there's a bug. I don't like him. You could put those hands in the hip creases and find a little bit of love there too, if you want. Thumbs in the hip creases for a little self massage. Deep inhale here. If you feel like leaning in a little for a little stretch, go for it. But I want it to be kind of active and I want it to be intentional. Nice. Beautiful. And then when you get a chance, go ahead and come back up. Let's find ourselves feet about hip width distance apart again. And we're going to take a moment just to get through the neck, and then we're going to wrap things up and do our little seated shavasana and breath work. So again, let's not force anything in the neck. Let's just look up, stretching. And then while you're still kind of looking up, bring the right ear to the right shoulder. And then come to the back, left ear to left shoulder. So more like a half circle. So you're coming with the head back, left to right, and then let's look up, left to right. Or you could go down, but a half circle, not a full circle. Just getting into the neck a bit. Or it could be side to side. What feels good in those crunchy places in the neck? Nice. And then let's take the hands behind the head. You can put the thumbs right here at the occiput and just give yourself this nice little massage into the neck. Maybe it feels good to push the hands back into the thumbs or push the head back there, or maybe it feels good to just stay neutral or to look down a little. Again, not forcing anything, but find a little massage. You could maybe even find a little massage here at the neck. Nice. We're going to do a little seated shavasana, which is sometimes hard to sit still. So we'll do a little bit of box breath or a little simple, gentle, not a really just a little meditation or a little breath work to help us kind of just stay still. So if you can find a comfortable seat, feet are still down, palms are up if that feels good to you to receive energy, or if there's something you wish to release, maybe the palms are down, eyes are closed, or gaze is soft. You can either practice the box breathing with us or just practice that inhale and exhale, the one-to-one breath. If it's hard to stop thinking and shut the mind down, maybe you inhale for so and exhale for hum. So in Sanskrit simply means I am that which I am, I am enough. Inhale and exhale. I'll do one round of box breathing. You can choose that or just one-to-one breath. So let's inhale all together for a count of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's hold that breath for 1, 2, and 3. If you can, exhale out the nose for 1, 2, 3, and 4. And hold that breath for 1, 2, 3. You would repeat that inhale, box breath, holding the breath in between, or just inhales and exhales for a moment here on your own. If you were box breathing, just return to the normal one-to-one breath, inhaling for the count of 1, 2, 3, 4 if you can, exhaling for 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you wish to keep your eyes closed down for just this last moment, you sure can. Bring your fingertips to like the middle of your face, all your fingers, and like kind of just trace your face is the shape of a heart. Trace a heart around the outside of your face, coming down to a point at the chin, starting at the forehead, softening through the jawline. I sometimes like to do this at the beginning of practice too, so that we soften everything. This is why I like an hour and a half practice or a little longer, so we have all the time for these things. But give yourself that shape, that heart shape. Love. If something feels good, stop at the temples or stop at the jawline. Give yourself that bit of love. Bring hands together. Rub the palms together to create a little bit of heat. Really feel that heat, that energy you built. Really feel it. And then place those hands over your heart. Inhaling your intention. Inhaling what you're allowing more of. Really feeling the connection to your body, your roots, this space, those around you, those you love, sending out love, beautiful energy. Bring your hands back together and maybe keep that gaze soft if you can. The light, the teacher in me sees and honors the light and the teacher in all of you, and it is beautiful. In Sanskrit, we say, when we see and honor and the light in another, we say namaste, namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. I hope you
Thank
guys got a little warm from that.
Yes, thank you so much, Angela. I actually have a couple questions for you, but I'm just letting everybody know before you go. I'm going to be emailing a survey afterwards, just a 3-question survey. Please fill that out in the next week or two. It really helps us get grants. That's how we track our progress from all of our programming. So
Would you
thank
like me to stop the recording?
um well, let's does anyone else have any questions for Angela? I just have a couple.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a question? I'm just wondering, so what's it called again? You said box breathing, or how do you spell?
Yeah. Box,
Oh,
BOX,
oh,
box
okay.
breathing. Yeah. It's really a good one for the mind and calming of the mind. So yeah, yeah. You can do 3 or 4 or even 5 breaths, but I usually start at 4 for the inhales and exhales, and then I have you hold the 3 because some people don't have that capacity for breath. But if you can, you want to actually hold the breath as long as you actually did the inhale too. So it's like matching your breath to your holds.
Awesome. I was standing on carpet when we did well, right now, but I mean when we
Mm-hmm.
do the one-legged stand, is that harder on
Mm-hmm.
carpet?
Yes, it's a
Really?
lot
Okay.
harder on carpet. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it's sometimes, like your mat is nice or a hard surface, but a hard surface is much easier. Sometimes even standing on a hard surface, not your mat, is easier for balance than having a mat underneath you. The mat is there usually more for like knees and protecting other things and to keep you from, keep you from being on a dirty floor. But yeah, sometimes just a hard floor is better for balance, really.
Cool.
So
Yeah, Sam, you can stop recording. Um, anyone else